Ladies and gentlemen, the air is getting thin up here, and yet we breathe in and out a little magazine, secondhand daylight. That's okay with me. Let's go and move on into the next track here, which is going to be The Thin Air. This is going to be the track that's starting off the second side of the album here. Listen, I got it pulled up. Why wait? Let it roll. Let it ride. Let it play. Side to side. From the A side to the B side. Now it's our time. That doesn't rhyme. Oh! This is like Pink Floyd coded a little bit. That's a cool sound. This is a great way to open this side. That is so cool. Oh, they did it earlier there. They are doing it earlier. I want to hear how it transitions. I just want to hear.
back to nature. I can't go on like this. I want to walk where the power is. Back to nature. I don't know where to start. Back to nature. I don't have that kind of heart.
Big synth. Working right behind it.
Door. Ah, they want to touch me, and you show me their hands, how warm and soft and foreign they are. Look at them, Cubans in surgical gloves, one on top of two on top of three. Well, I've got more than you.
Man, they're playing.
Back to nature, the wire will realize this is not a sight for his or eyes. Back to nature, get it back at you. I couldn't act naturally if I wanted to.
That piano's so gorgeous behind them. I love how these solos just coming out of nowhere. Such a great rhythm to end this track with. I had to let the two tracks go to Thin Air was an instrumental, and then it was leading perfectly into Back to Nature. Perfect tracks. 10s out of 10s. 2 thumbs up. Whatever other hand gestures I can get across. These were perfect. So, okay, this is a great entrance into side 2 of the album. With Thin Air, it's a nice instrumental that's exciting, even just on its own. Like, it definitely connects into the next track with Back to Nature, but just on its own, it's meaty, and it has something to chew on. It got something to bite. And in my opinion, it kind of reminds me of Pink Floyd, but Magazine are doing it in their own post-punk kind of way. And it is all the better for it. Like, the ambience of it all, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Shine On. And the way that, the saxophone plays in here is just incredibly soulful. A beautiful melody. The changes that they bring in there, it's just a really pleasant listen. Once the rest of the instruments join in, it's powerful. And it's just riding these particular waves. And I like how they include small changes into the music so that it never becomes just a repeated, while powerful, a repeated kind of wave. They always change or add or take away something to give it a little extra. The organ behind the synth is really cool. It's just all incredible. The bass in there was tasty. Absolutely tasty. And then piano is what kind of leads us in transitions into Back to Nature. And so I like how that's the thread. That piano, the keys, all of those are the threads that kind of, push things together. That is the secret formula.
Please clap.
To this particular 2 songs. And with Back to Nature, then the singing comes in, and it starts off very easily carrying on that soul from the previous track. So, let me pull up Thin Air real quick. This feels like their version of Pink Floyd, man. That whoop, the slow down and the speeding up of that. Come on, man, that's so cool. And then with Back to Nature, like I said, it kind of carries on in a similar aspect here with Devoto's singing. And it just kind of turns into a, not ballad, because that's not the word I want to use, but it walks along a similar path. But it's not very long until we get back to nature. And I like how Barry on the bass just he's just sliding up and down that fret, and he's gonna have some sores on his fingers as he's going up on there. I hope that he put some sort of, I don't know what you put on the bass, gel, oil, something. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've played the bass, to be honest. So long I don't even remember what's supposed to go on there. You put something on there so that you can, is this sort of oil or something? I don't know. It's been a really long time. Anyways, even in that moment, where the aggression fully comes out, it's still held with this particular glue. And, this part is more straightforward. But see, you still have that synth and stuff back there. And they slow down in a lot more space. Then the rhythm becomes interesting, especially near the ending. There's these always constant changes that are happening, but they're not changes so much that throw you off or make it seem convoluted, or we can't stick to the schedule, can't stick to the plan. No, the changes feel earned and they're rewarded, and they're just so wonderfully done. And then this very powerful moment back here. as the rhythm gives way to the solos. This feels very progressive to me. And speaking of solos, you get some great guitar and synth solos, the sax, of course. Just a really fantastic 2 tracks. Back to back, Back to Nature. Matter of fact, here's the lyrics. That didn't rhyme. Back to nature, I can't go on like this. I want to walk where the power is. Back to nature, I don't know where to start. Back to nature, I don't have that kind of heart. Back to nature, back to somewhere else. Back to nature, and right back on top of yourself. Back to nature, I've got to look down, see where I am, or just hit the ground. And even as he's kind of talking about going back to nature and kind of grounding himself in a particular way here, I guess musically, when it does get into those more aggressive, straightforward moments, it almost acts as a musical grounding before giving way to those experimental leanings. And I'm telling you, I know what you've been going through in my heart of hearts when I was here, and you were there. Nothing was between us. We're up in the air, the thin air, and we're down on the ground. We're up in the air, we're down on the ground. Here are your friends again, inching in the bedroom door. They won't touch me, and you show me their hands, how warm and soft and foreign they are. Cubans in surgical gloves, 1 on top of 2 on top of 3. Well, I've got more than you. That part confuses me. Back to nature, the voyeur will realize this is not a sight for his sore eyes. Stop looking. Back to nature, getting back at you. I couldn't act naturally if I wanted to. Back to nature, a trip that I can't take. People are thinking that they've dreamed of this place. Back to nature, it was somewhere else, back to nature, right back on top of yourself. And I'm telling you, I know what you've been going through in my heart of hearts when I was here. And you were there. Nothing was between us. Like, let's get back to the simpler things between us. Let's just get back to us where no one is involved in between us and nothing is happening in between us. Let's just get back to that beautiful simplicity that we had. Let's get back to our nature together. Let me know what you guys thought of that track, of course, in the comments down below. Those 2 tracks together, those are 10 out of 10s. That's really good. And this album is show enough. Pulling out all the stops, and so far, I gotta say, I'm preferring it to Secondhand Daylight. I mean, I love that one. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. But I mean, this one's. Why'd I say Secondhand Daylight? I meant. Yeah, Secondhand Daylight. What's wrong with me? Let's wait. I'm not thinking right. Real life? Did I just forget what they're... Leave it in. Don't edit it. Let people understand that, yes, even I make mistakes. Real life. I'm looking at it right now. That was embarrassing. Let me know what you guys thought of it, of course, in the comments down below. Thank you so much for being here. Please have a wonderful rest of your day. Sometimes the mind just